previous.
Wow. It's like, what do we do now heading into the next game? Because you mentioned at the start of this, like, probably what both sides were going to look to prioritize in regards to the first phase bans. Betrayed, they let the IO through, and we saw how it was able to enable just all the members they had. I mean, Seb on the Earthshaker, I don't know if I've seen a better performance. Like, that was in the time frame that we had in 26 minutes. What Seb was able to do on the Earthshaker is what takes like 500 games on some of my Earthshakers in my pub. So I don't know.
That's more of an indictment of you than a good thing of Seb, though. But I mean, the thing is, the man is like excellent on at least, let's say, 4 heroes, right? He's got his Shaker, Wind Ranger, Monkey King, and Io, all in the pool available for them. And I feel like you just got to get rid of the Io, man. I know Thompson plays a great Pango, but I really don't think that that's the thing that they could play these super early oriented lineups around, right? I think maybe Betrayed can look to fix that one up in the Game 2 draft and hopefully come back a little bit stronger. Monkey King, Io, I want to see those two out of there.
Hopefully they can come back stronger, but with the recent games that we've seen so far between these two squads, it's not looking like that's the case. It's what, 3 games in a row now where it's ended in that 20 to 30 minute range. Like you said in the open qualifiers, OG just dismantled Betrayed. So this is, hopefully they're able to reset, because this is not going to be an easy thing at all. Able to, you know, bounce back after such a devastating loss like that, and it was against a pocket strategy in the Dazzle as well. So like, who knows what they have in store for this next game?
It's something that's only going to be possible if it's clear that they have a lot of trust in each other on this OLD.G roster, right? Like, Rezo was diving in like an absolute maniac, and you know, a couple of times he got caught out, but most of the time the rest of the boys were there to be able to back him up, especially once it became true 5v5 Dota. So big props to OLD.G. Take game number 1. Let's see if we can make a bit more of a sporting effort out of it in game number 2.
It's probably one. We want a closer game. I want a game 3. I'm not going to lie. I'm just going to put it out there. I want a game 3. Usually when I put it out there, and it doesn't work. Happen. So I did just knock on wood. I don't know if that's actually going to work or not, but I have to do it. Just, we're hoping we go the distance here. Regardless though, OLD.G, a dominating game 1 performance from them. Can they replicate it and just book themselves their ticket into Division 2 in just 2 quick games? We'll find out after the break.
People think Western Sydney is a rough area, but coming from here, it's a blessing. All obstacles you face here, they're lessons. You know my brother Hugo, he was actually the one that helped me blow up. He posted a video of me doing a freestyle, and the feedback just made me think I could do it. Yeah, See the New Wave is much more reflective of what Australia is today. Me, my brother, my crew, we feel responsible. We're gonna keep getting bigger, showing people what's possible.
My dear true Yarans, we won. I will be more than El Presidente de Yara. I will be the Lion of Yara. Yara will once again be the paradise we have dreamed of.
Far Cry, Rise of the Revolution.
Tetris?
Tetris.
Tetris. Tetris. Tetris. It's the perfect game. I played for 5 minutes. I still see falling blocks in my dreams.
Not too bad.
And with that, a quick break leads us into game 2. Betrayed up against the raiding side, OLD.G on that Dire side. Denog, we were kind of mentioning towards the end, we were hoping the First phase bans might look a little bit different here for Betrayed. We'll see if they're going to follow. Come on. Come on, come on.
IO. It's got to be the IO, man. You have to. You have to. They've even got second pick this time on OLD.G, so they're just going to be able to, like, IO +1 immediately off the bat. Come on.
10 seconds remaining.
Come on. You can do
Hey,
it.
all right, there we go. Stonks, stonks. That's what we want. All right, so what do OLD.G look to go for next? I really wouldn't hate the DP strat again, just getting rid of that one, because you just saw how much they just ganged up on Mirage whenever he was playing that. But instead, okay, Batrider, maybe feeling like this game might drag out a little bit longer because they don't have that IO, which always seems to accelerate the speed that these games are being played at.
We were mentioning as well, Mirage maybe has a little bit more of a limited hero pool, and well, Batrider is one of his better heroes, so trying to take him out of his comfort zone. I mean, we saw what happened last game in that tricky 1v1 matchup versus the incredible Thompson.
Just having a look through their, like, past games played, they do have a few games where they don't have an IO or a Monkey King, but those games just take a lot longer than the rest, pretty much. So it at least lets Betrayed be able to maybe use some of their synergy that they've been able to develop throughout these qualifiers and in the lead up to it as well, to be able to try and take this one.
Uh-oh.
This is something else that speeds up the game, though.
Yeah, and something that no one has still been spamming in his pubs.
And Bat's banned, so kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah, don't have that. One of the better heroes to be able to hunt down the Nature's Prophet, regardless of where he is playing on the map. And I think I just want to go back to what you just said as well. It speeds up the game. Like, that is the big concern. OG, doesn't matter who they're versing, they're going to look to play incredibly fast, and you'd say that maybe...
I almost want to see, it's not really a Thompson hero, but I almost want to see him pick up a Leshrac, because I feel like this is a really good Slark game. You know, if you're going up against the against the Nature's Prophet, it's still, like, Slark into Alchemist doesn't feel horrible either. I guess you do have a lot of that damage over time with the Acid Spray, and if he goes into the Radiance build as well, but Slark plus Disruptor, you can get a lot of kills with that lane, and we know how good Slark is against the Nature's Prophet, and you've also got multiple bans to be able to protect it if they were to go down that route.
We do kind of have to... We can't really avoid the Alchemist pick too much. Like, what do we make of it here in the first phase, combined with the Nature's Prophet as well? I mean, this is more than likely two of their cores.
Yeah, I think they picked it for... I want to say Thompson in actually one of the games that they played against Betrayed. No, it was no one. Never mind. So it was Rezo playing the Nature's Prophet in that game. They go the Primal Beast as well. So it feels like Betrayed should know where this Nature's Prophet is going. Again, it's OLD.G, so they have the ability to flex. So it's not guaranteed that this is going to be one Alchemist, three Nature's Prophet. This could be a support Alchemist for all we know. But maybe the Primal Beast doesn't feel as great when you're using it to counter a Nature's Prophet that eventually is an offlaner, right? As opposed to the position 1 carry.
5 seconds
So,
remaining.
not sure how great I feel about this. Like, it's a great counter to the NP. It just feels like OG have options. OLD.G have options.
Radiant team back.
What do we feel like are some of those options that you'd like to see them prioritize to address the
Switch up
primal?
who plays what, basically.
Okay.
You know, like, move down the Prophet in the priority is what I'm effectively saying here.
Is there even some other picks, instead of just kind of changing around the priority, there's some other heroes that we could see them look to consider to minimize the effectiveness of the Primal Beast?
Just pick the Clockwork, pick even Jakiro to a lesser extent, feels kind of okay against this sort of thing. Pick more reposition, more stuns. You know, BKB piercing stuns is always going to be good against the Primal. You can't go the Disruptor, which is unfortunate.
5 seconds
I
remaining.
doubt they're going to go something like an Oracle, but at least if in terms of the laning phase, the Oracle is great against the Primal Beast because almost all of your damage is magical.
Go back for that. Pops an Oracle, like we saw at TI.
Didn't win. Didn't win.
Doesn't matter. Come on. Just
Talking about the lane, brother. He's not going to be in the side lanes.
what do you think this is a side lane? Do you think this is a 3 Primal Beast?
Probably. I'm still on the Slark boat, man. I think the Slark could still be decent here. They're getting rid of a lot of this AoE control that they've got with the Invoker, with the Pangolier, of course, Rolling Thunder, Tornado, Deafening Blast. These are the sorts of things that can limit the effectiveness of these heroes that just want to run at you, basically, and don't want to pop a BKB super early. So you could probably put Ursa in a similar sort of boat. I guess a little bit of the Faceless Void to a lesser extent, but Slark's still number one for me. What are OLD.G going to look to try and pair up with this Alchemist as well, as another question. So no one, when he played it previously, it was Soul Ring, Phase Boots, Radiance, Heart, AC, Blink, and then the game was over.
Okay.
Can't really see that changing all that much. I think he paired it together with a Warlock in that game, just because with all of the AoE damage that you're able to do with the Acid Spray, with the Radiance, with the Wrath of Nature, that Fatal Bonds can just rip through a team so quickly.
Where do you rate the hero at the moment in its current state?
Warlock or Alk?
Warlock, sorry, because we really don't see it often.
I think it's all right. I just think that it's not a pub hero for sure. It requires way too much cohesion. That people play their own game in pubs. They don't play team games the majority of the time. But I think if you get these drafts that are very oriented around having AoE damage, it's going to be just fine. And that's the way that OLD.G like to play, right? They just look to continuously try and run at you. They look to try and take one hero out and then move on to the rest. And that's the sort of thing that even Upheaval helps with a little bit too.
Dire team pick.
Actually, still getting rid of that DP that is allowed to shrug off a lot of that initial damage.
Radiant team pick.
Okay.
Kitchak staple. Have a good ogre. Nice lane dominate. Well, nice laning support.
Who was it that called us the Ogre Magi? Was that Snare?
Luke, I think.
Maybe it was Luke.
Yeah, the classic. Not surprised. He's a bully.
5 seconds remaining.
What a bully, honestly.
What a bully. This is.
You're the one holding the club.
You calling me dumb? What?
No.
Okay.
You got a nice little hat.
Yeah, I think the right one looks cooler as well.
Victim complex. All right, so what are they going to go with this one? I mean, the OD has been banned out a little bit, so are they considering going for something like a troll or a morphling perhaps? Instead, it's... Well, actually, I don't hate this Shadow Fiend, right? If OLD.G look to play that similar style of run at you, I know that if you get gone on the Shadow Fiend, then you're just dead meat, right? You don't have that many defensive tools, but if you're allowed to actually channel up that Requiem, then you can force them back a little bit. You know, same sort of thing with a Tombstone, right? It forces you to focus on something that isn't a hero if you're going to just look to run them down. It's why... you know, if this was OLD.G in a similar sort of situation, the heroes that they see for that purpose are like the Mars, the Gyrocopter, the ones that deal damage in this area where you know that they're running in. So maybe now OLD.G are going to look to go for something that doesn't necessarily need to like run that straight line, that can look to veer around from the sides. We know that... I mean, I'm a Night Stalker fan, but probably not this game. But again, just something that's able to get around to the backlines a lot more quickly. It's a good Morphling game, isn't it?
It's a very good Morphling game. This is very scary. It's pretty greedy for OLD.G though. Like, let's be real. You got more than likely a Morphling, Alchemist, Nature's Prophet trio. That's
could be an Alch 4.
It could, but we got to say more than likely, right? Like, this is your 3 cores. But sure, you could put the Alchemist as support.
It's really good, man.
Do you want
just hold them inside of a Sprout or just body block, and 2.2 seconds stun on that concoction feels really reliable. I wouldn't hate it.
How will that play into the Undying though? I'm just thinking if it is.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're right.
Regardless,
just kill the Undying forehead.
Just kill the Undying. Regardless, though, this is a incredible Morphling game. I mean, you're against a Agi right clicker in the Shadow Fiend, so you get a lot of value out of the Aghanim Scepter. There are very minimal ways to blow him up without being able to react to the attribute shift. They don't have a lot of stuns as well. And you've got an Ogre that can act as that bodyguard, just act as someone who can soak some damage in the lane. So I'm expecting no one to have a very good time on the Morphling.
pre-Aghanim Scepter as well, you can just replicate into the Undying, get that Tombstone up, really high impact in a lot of these fights.
Oh, wow.
Feels really nice.
Okay, one thing I do want to say is that this could also even be a Topson Morphling. If we even go back to the TI qualifiers that we were casting for T1, they were first picking Morphling in a vast majority of those games, and Topson was just completely taking over. And we saw that matchup versus the Primal Beast. Like it's pretty nice. That's also a good person if you want to play with early on with the Scepter. Regardless, just stealing his abilities, you can waveform away from the aggressive trample. So they also have that in the arsenal to be able to flex at mid.
What I'm wanting for OL.G is I still want something that's going to go in first. They don't quite have that yet, at least until the Alchemist gets the Blink Dagger. You know, they're kind of slow. They don't have a lot of movement spells. Yeah, you got teleports, but the waveform is what you want as that secondary initiation as opposed to the first. So that's really where I'm expecting OL.G to go with this last pick of the overall draft. If I'm them, and you know, I'm not multiple TI winners and you know, captaining the team, but it would probably be like a Morphling 1, Ogre 5, Nature's Prophet 3, Alchemist 4, and then look to pick something last that is able to fulfill that sort of role. Again, you can't run head first into this lineup. You're going to get Requiemed, you're going to get Tombstone, have a lot of value. You're going to get, you know, potentially Glimpse Back, Static Storm, yada yada yada, right? So it just means to me that something like, it's not really a Topson hero though, right? The Storm, the Puck, they're not the sort of ones that he likes to play. He's more of the lane dominator. Who knows? Maybe it's a Ricky, you know? He could just go mid Ricky again.
Yeah.
10 seconds remaining. Dire team.
Luckily for them, they do have this 24th pick. Jesus. Yeah. That's very greedy.
All right. So if the SF gets Blink, Hex, or Arcane Blink, maybe you blow up the Morphling, and I'm sure that they're going to be praying.
Come on, pick him mid.
I don't think it is. Unless it is. I mean, so, okay.
Yes!
Yeah, mid-Oracle. Oh. Well,
let's go.
You don't care at all about the Primal Beast. You don't care much about the Shadow Fiend. I'm guessing they're assuming that this is going to be magic damage Shadow Fiend, especially with Shad on the Spectre. I don't know. I'm trying to.
You do care about Spectre, like you care about Spectre a lot, but
you do.
Like you said,
Elk, man.
This is a very, very greedy draw from Betrayed. Going this Spectre last, and we saw what happened in the last game, and we've seen what and prior in their games versus OL.G, they get ran over. So I don't know if they're going to be able to stall this game out enough.
I mean, again, the heroes that they've picked are to prevent getting run over, basically. And I'm expecting them... Oh, Primal's probably not going to be able to get the farm to get into an Aghanim Scepter, right? But it's just like, they need more chaos. They need more ways to force OL.G to focus on, again, something that isn't a high priority hero. They're going to be praying for a Tumbler's Toy for Own Me, because that's how they're going to be able to kill this Morphling, right? Tumbler's into the Static Storm before he's able to get that Morph Strength off, and, well, I mean, if Topson's in the right place, he might even just be able to drop something like a Fate's Edict, right? And then you avoid a lot of that damage, so... I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how we go. I'm keen to see what he's able to do with this mid-Oracle against the Shadow Fiend, that's for sure.
Yeah, one thing I've learned from some of the games that I've casted for Topson is that I tried not to guess what's going on, because I don't know. I mean, we just saw a Dazzle last game played mid. Now we get an Oracle played mid as well. Like, I didn't even know Seb's level 17 on the Alchemist, so it's just...
Alch 4 is fun. Like, I really want to see more people play it in pubs and... Oh, more flag reboot. All right, we got a little bit of a pause happening. I mean, just let's use this time to talk about the Unstable Concoction a little bit, just the buff up to it. 2.2 seconds stun feels pretty significant, especially when you're in this lane. Like, even just have a look at Rezo's build. He's got the Blightstone. They want to get a ton of harass off with all of this damage, and the Concoction also is physical. So it's kind of similar to what we saw last game with the Dazzle synergizing together with everything else that they had, the presence of the Dark Lord aura, plus the bad Juju, plus the medallion that eventually became a Solar Crest, all that stuff. They're just honing that into just the lane, and I feel like it's going to be a really rough time for this Spectre.
Which is a concern, because usually the Undying is a guaranteed is a guaranteed lane winning support, and we see Angel, he's even gone Ring of Protection, kind of expecting this bottom lane to be a lot of physical damage, but with that Blight Zone, it's going to negate that heavily. So
you need to go it though, yeah. Otherwise, you've got zero armor. So I wonder if Spectre's going to go like a Blade Mail early on, just because of how physical this lineup is going to be. You're going to have a little bit of that unavoidable damage as well, of course, right? With the Acid Spray, with the Ignite, for example, from the Ogre Magi. And I'm really wanting to see Angel go something like... I know I mentioned Tombstone being really important for their lineup, just to force them to hit something else. I really wouldn't hate to see him just put like 1 point into the Tombstone, just so that you do need to focus it a little bit, but it's not actually going to give Morphling the value once these fights actually break out. I want to see him spam out that Decay a lot more, because that's going to deal with the Treants. That's going to deal with the Alchemist a little bit more. That's going to, obviously make the Morphling diving in and make you a whole lot tankier, a lot more of a difficult task. So maybe this is the game for Soul Rip. Who knows?
Okay. We'll see what route Angel wants to go down in regards to his skill build, but overall for Betrayed, what do we feel like is really the strength of the 5-man if we look at this? Like, what are some of the timings that we need to be considering about as we get through this game, for maybe when they feel like they're going to be able to be strong enough to hopefully send us to a game 3?
See, most of the time when we talk about timings, is like, when do you want to make a move? But I think when you're playing against OLD.G, you know that they're going to be the ones making the moves against you. Like, that's just the way that they play Dota, and especially if you've got an Oracle mid, this isn't something that just, sits back and farms, right? He needs to get active if he's looking to try and make stuff happen around the map. So I think their main priority is going to be, if we get killed, do we need to TP back to the lane to make sure we don't lose it, yada, yada, yada. But just keep those TPs available for when OLD.G look to try and clump up as 5 and burst someone down. It's all about just how you react to OLD.G's aggression. And they've got the heroes to do it. Again, the Tombstone, Requiem, Static Storm, it's a lot that you're able to use to be able to combat that sort of thing. Let's just see if they're coordinated enough to make it work in practice.
It's really the ultimate question. Are you going to be able to execute it? Well, we shall find out. Once again, nothing different. A smoke 5-on-5, but not a higher ground Angel wants to be running up into. I guess maybe...
there.
I mean, you got
the 16 strength from the Decay, so...
Jesus. I was going to say, maybe at least one of the better heroes to actually run into 5, so... Angel shrugs off all the damage. They're going to look to continue to control this area.
A little isolated. They know he's there.
30 seconds to
They don't really have the greatest catch, though.
No.
They actually get rid of one of their own Observer Wards as well, just to make sure that they're not getting that additional XP bounty. Got all these pings throughout the map as well.
Glimpse back, Rezo. They're gonna... Oh my, look at the damage, Mirage. Finds a triple raise combo, and, well, that is a much-needed confidence boost for Mirage as well, considering how poorly his last game went in the early game. Again, we saw Topson find 2 solo kills versus the Shadow Fiend, so versus the Mirage. Position 2 last game, so, well, finding first blood and getting the bounties means that he's very close to the bottle.
Yeah. I mean, he needed to be the one to get that last hit, right? He used way too much mana to be able to knock out that gold injection for himself, so he's going to be feeling very satisfied with being able to claim that one. I'm just going to watch how Topson looks to play this lane, to be honest, right? You've got similar sort of right-click damage, so it's going to come down to skill in terms of being able to secure last hits in that way. What are we looking at?
I wonder how he's going to use the Fortune's End too. Maybe if he wants to, like, dispel the Razor stack. I don't know if... Yeah. That's something he might be forced to consider if Mirage gets aggressive, but could be some cute plays coming out from him. Mm-hmm. What are we really expecting the Oracle to provide you as well? Is there a item build that we're hoping Topson goes down? Or we let the Master show us what's in store for us? Because I think...
I'm trying to think about it, right? Like, it doesn't provide that additional jump that I was hoping, but maybe it's just something that's going to enable, for example, the Alchemist to play a little bit more aggressively. You know, you get the Chemical Rage going, and then you just pop the False Promise onto him, and then he's able to just stand and let you start to rain in a lot of more of this damage from afar.
I have a vague memory of him going Scepter in that TI game that he went for with the Oracle, so...
You don't think that was a bit of memes?
You want to go memes?
Great, man.
No, I don't know. Well, oh, Angel, nicely done. Great micro from Resolution's going to be able to find the Undying inside the tree lane, so they're going to be able to find their first kill of the game here for OLD.G.
Maybe it's like a Veil sort of game. You're constantly wanting to spam out your spells, so the Bassi is going to give you good value, really amps up the damage from the Alchemist. Ogre loves it. I mean, Ignite maxed out, plus the level 10 talent can really start to do a ton of damage. Speaking of Ogre, Kitrak getting a little bit dived up on this top side.
Symmetrical's trying to get in range for the trample and should be able to do so now that the slow expires. Just on the outskirt, but one more right click's going to be able to secure the kill, so able to bring down a Mr. Kitrak. Off to a pretty decent start here for the boys on Betrayed.
They were off to a decent start last game, though, and I mean, of course, not that mid lane quite so much, but it's just about how they look to address this initial little bit here, and Kitrak wisely done, making sure to TP into the tree line, not wanting to be the victim of the glimpse all the way back to base, and doing his role, making sure that he's playing on the front line, soaking up a lot of that damage. Really needs to give no one one of these tangos, though.
There you go.
As he does.
He's got that second point of the attribute shift now, so it's going to be a little bit easier for no one to play this fine line of having the low health pool.
They call me the grandpa.
Shad did. That's a pretty big choreo snipe, honestly. It's a full Wraith Band that Seb was able to get rid of.
Yeah, for this lane in particular, it's enormous, right? Like, all of that additional armor that it's going to provide you, both from, you know, the armor aspect itself plus the agility, really does enable your survivability a lot more into this lane in particular. So, Seb, I'm really expecting him plus Rezo, once they hit that level 3, maybe that's going to be the time that they look to go for an attempt onto Shad.
And still, even after the patch, we see that this Nature's Prophet's still a pretty goddamn strong hero as well. So, probably expecting Resolution to go for this offlane Scepter build that we've seen a decent chunk as... Well, you just TP up, right? Yeah, Resolution sees the Tombstone, he's like, alright, peace.
No stuns.
Yeah.
Could get a little bit of damage into this tower as well. Seb's in position to be able to make the creep pull happen as well. And they are that level 3 as well, so I think they're just setting up for the gank attempt once they're able to get this lane working a little bit further in their favor. Level 3, about to be level 4 on Rezo, and once this wave starts to push in back towards the OLD.G side of the lane, that's when they're really looking to make the most of this and go for that kill onto the Spectre in particular, especially before he can get that Wraith Band delivered, if possible. It's coming out on the courier now.
Raj is going to be pretty cautious with his positioning. Looks like they actually did have a ward inside the jungle, so they are well aware of Seb starting to make his way over to the mid lane. So with this time, Mirage going to look to make the stack. Seb, is he going to block it?
Oh, he's waiting for the nighttime, just for that little bit of reduced vision coming through. So he's able to walk on through. Might have realized that they had some sort of vision down. He hasn't walked into that observer ward next to the mid tier 1 tower just yet. Maybe just wanting to hang around, see if he can soak up some of that experience, but he'll see that Shadow Fiend's gone. Creep wave.
Symmetrical? Oh, okay. It's got raindrops and 1 charges. Oh, bottom lane as well. Resolution. He gets a kill onto Angel, but Shad should be able to get the return kill. Pretty happy with that exchange here for Betray, considering we're a little bit hesitant on how this bottom lane was going to fare.
He's under vision, though. That ward had about 5 seconds left, and I don't think he actually saw it expire as well, so Mirage knows he's here, and Seb doesn't know that Mirage knows.
Like you said, not knowing his expired, dropped the sentry, unfortunately. Not going to be able to find anything. Does at least secure the rune for Thompson, who does have a bottle. Going to look to try and snag the regen. Oh.
Really not wanting Thompson to be able to get this one.
Oh,
yeah,
he
looks
went for
like
the deny. Thompson, though, might be in some trouble with a Requiem charge up, but at the same time, Seb chucks out a concoction to hold Mirage back for the moment. They still got the zombies to slow Thompson down. They will be able to kill that one off for the moment. Thompson's got to look for the turnaround, but Mirage holding plenty of one charges. They'll get the initial kill onto Seb. Mirage, can he land the raise? I think got a glimpse of the Oracle looking to retreat away. Couple more ability spams, and Mirage is able to find it up to a killing spree already for the Shadow Fiend, so it's just a night and day difference here from his start.
And I think you're pretty happy on Shad as well. Like, if you don't have this Alchemist to contend with, you feel relatively solid in being able to... I mean, I know Nature's Prophet is a really strong laner, but 1v1, Spectre's going to be able to get that farm that he needs,
Shad.
although he's getting dived a little bit here.
Let's see that. Oh, it doesn't get the tick onto Shad, so... may have resulted in him dying there. That Wrath of Nature is still a stupid amount of damage.
Is indeed trying to, well, can't really gain aggro from those treants as they go underneath it. Seb, he's ready to make another play down here. Already charging up that concoction and should be able to land it.
They might be able to turn it around though. Look at the rotation starting to come out from Betrayed. They've got to own me. Require at least a stun to prevent Resolution from maybe TPing out, but they won't even need it because they're going to turn it back around on OLD.G. Just the support duo, Seb and Kid Track in combination can now turn their attention over to Angel. And with all that going on, I mean, the tower still went down as well, so beautifully done. Kid Track sensing an opportunity for him to leave his safe lane and help out the opposite side of the map.
Yeah, I mean, it's the sort of thing where I feel like they did the right thing. They did what I was asking for, right? They made the right response to the eventual OLD.G aggression that you knew was going to be coming, but they just outplayed them. They divided, they conquered, they made sure to get away from that tombstone as quickly as possible. They prevented the decay from really starting to stack up, which is what he's looking to max out. So I think it's just those minor plays, right, that are setting them apart right now.
So, nice concoction onto 2. Still will get blown up though. Mirage dominating streak, and we see the item build at the moment for the Shadow Fiend. It does look like he's going to be going for this right click build, which I don't know how I feel about it.
I mean, I guess the mentality is they feel like, okay, if we can somehow make our way towards the late game, we're probably going to win because we're going to have 2 of these cores. I mean, they're against a Morphling and a Nature's Prophet as well, though, right?
Yeah.
But
speaking of the Morphling top lane, though, Mirage is looking to turn around off the back of the Requiem. The combo of the Razors brings down Thompson. Now, no one is either one in trouble. Can always look to waveform TP up, but they've got the Thunderstrike to provide the vision. They'll lose sight of him for the moment. Well, that's where the Tombstone's able to come into play, and no one... or he's resigned to his own fate, just hoping he gets the Tombstone before they kill him off. But beautifully done from Omi. He's even got to make sure that no little bit of gold is given over to die for free.
again, though, it's the responses, right? They made the right response. They might have lost one, but they got the position 1 and the position 2, and they didn't end up losing a tower for it. So I'm really liking how Betrayed have identified exactly what OLD.G are wanting to do this time around and change things up a little bit. You know, an Oracle doesn't want to go to the super late stage, so you got to make sure that you're just weathering the storm for now.
And speaking of the Oracle, that's 2 deaths for Thompson as well, and his lowest net worth out of the cause, so gonna heavily hurt his item progression in a game like this. This hero does very much struggle at being able to keep up in farm.
I think the place that he moved to was the right place, right? You're going up to where Symmetrical is playing. Again, you're a Primal Beast with Trample maxed out now, so that Fate's Edict, once Thompson gets a point into it, is going to be very, very value. I mean, I'm assuming that he's going to get it once he hits onto this level 8 right now. Just the 1 point can be such value.
See if that damage is going to be enough. Symmetrical's going to look to move in, but instantly canceling the Pulverize. Mirage is nearby, but there's not going to be anything he can do to act as a deterrent, and he too is going to be pretty cautious as well. Thompson, can he get in range here for the Fortune Zen? We'll be able to hold him in place for the moment. Symmetrical forced to act as a defensive barrier, just charging in, no hesitation, but that's going to cost him his own life. Omi wants to get involved as well. It's a static sword from afar. Shad, no hesitation with the horn. He's going to look to jaunt into the middle.
Nice glimpse.
And they'll get a +1 as well. But the glimpse Omi was just able to get into range. And again, it's Mirage that's reaping the rewards. He's 8-0. And somehow, he's only 100 net worth ahead of Resolution.
I mean, Rezo really hasn't been participating in too many of these fights, right? A lot of his kills and everything has been off the back of the Wrath of Nature. He hasn't left the bottom side of the map. I'd love if we had the technology to get a bit of a heat map, but, you know, Ares, he's a little bit lazy.
What
Doesn't
the
have
hell?
that.
What? All right, don't, come on. Some people are going to believe you. Oh, just throwing me under the bus. I've done nothing wrong. Mid lane, symmetrical. Them stops in a way.
Why can't you be like JJ and Knoxville?
Why can't I be like Tios and all the men?
And the best of the best
Yep.
at stats and analytics.
Oh, damn it. How dare I? Seb, is Angel wanting to drop the tombstone? No. Just ward behind. Looking to gear themselves up for their first tower of the game. They've got very good vision nearby. We'll see how Dire look to react to this. They are starting to move top with the smoke. It might take some time, and well, thanks to Seb's positioning, he's going to be okay for the moment.
Angel really
Nice
wanted
scan.
to just get that single right click in onto it for the 40% slow, but well, Seb's still somehow been able to keep this tower up and alive. Gonna get vision of them as they look to come through, and yeah, there we go. D Ward quickly picked up there.
Dude, look at Angel's positioning, though. No fears in the world here from the position 5. Recognizing his true strength with all the boys playing behind him. So, Betrayed, they'll get another kill, and finally we'll be able to open up the map.
And I guess that's just on the back of SF just being so huge, right? Like, I don't think they look to make that sort of play proactively unless Mirage had had such an amazing start. He gets his first assist of the entire game with that kill onto the Alchemist, but I mean, he was just way too much of a beast. They didn't feel ready to fight into that, and I'm sure really that's what Rezo is talking about right now. He's like, look, just let me get into the Glipnir. At least that little bit of extra damage, that extra control as well that we're really needing.
Lane Thompson looking for a solo kill onto Angel. We can duck into the tree line, utilize that fog of war. Thompson's going to be able to catch up to him and blows him up before the glimpse is able to send him away. Meanwhile, bottom lane, Shad's in a lot of trouble. Resolution's already used that TP, so won't be able to continue the chase, but importantly, they've taken over some of Shad's farming locations, so Inspector won't be able to have too much of a free time.
So Thompson is going into the Ags. Again, I don't really see it. It feels a little underwhelming if I'm being completely honest, but, you know, if he's going to be able to make it work...
Speaking of Thompson...
Kudos to him. He still doesn't have any points in Fate's Edict, which I'm really surprised about.
Gonna drag him back into the Static Storm. Not gonna mess around here. Beautifully done from Omi. But there might be an opportunity for, but yeah, like you said, no points in Fate's Edict. Wasn't able to...
Just one. Just one, that's all I'm asking.
So what do we also make of Resolution's build? Because I thought he was going to go Scepter, considering you have this like true win condition in the Morphling. Do they feel like they might have some issues of scaling into the late game? Like, what do we make of this Gleipnir BKB that we're going to see out of him?
I guess maybe they're just feeling like Symmetrical's the main issue for them right now, and they want some sort of way to hold him into place, at least until he gets into that BKB, or to try and force the BKB onto him. I mean, you've got this little bit of a window, right, where you can actually control the Primal without having to use that Fate's Edict. But, of course, it's going to swing back in Symmetrical's favor once he's level 15 as well, with that Dispel once you activate the Uproar. So it's... I think they're going to want to try and get as aggressive as possible as soon as they pick that up. They just felt like they needed a little bit more control before they could make that aggression happen. It's almost level 12 as well on Rezo, so can expect to see a bit of a big damage spike look to come through. Only 300 gold away from that Glipnir as well, so we talk about the best of the best teams having a lot of these timings sync up. Seb, he's almost into the drums as well for himself.
Yeah, is this what you feel like is kind of the item progression for a Alchemist support?
I guess it allows him to farm a little bit faster. You know, a lot of that movement around the map. It gives you an okay amount of stats just to be able to throw out those concoctions. I don't know. I feel like Alchemist is one of those heroes that could probably still get away with buying something like a Soul Ring if he is going to be a bit more of this, like, spellcaster style. Of course, you've got the chemical rage to be able to regen up all of that HP that you lose.
Regardless, though, it is a much closer game than what we saw prior. Which means we are in store for a very, very chaotic mid-game, which we might even see the action break out shortly. It's been a bit of a quiet past couple of minutes, but seems like Betrayed are ready to go. They really want to try and take this tier 1 tower. They'd love to get Thompson along with it as symmetrical. Trying to charge on over, but it's just going to end short. They still were able to get Vision and Clabs Thompson back, but with the Static Storm getting layered down, Thompson's going to be okay for the moment. OLD.G, they've reacted. Multiple members looking to get into the middle. Seb, they're onto the Shadow Fiend. This is a huge streak if they can find Mirage with the charge in, but it's not enough to keep alive. Enough. Symmetrical just sends himself into the grave, digging his own. And now with the Undying as well, no escape for poor old Angel. A 3 for nothing, and all of a sudden, what was a very minimal lead for OLD.G is now blown very wide open.
But the thing that I was about to mention right before that fight broke out is that, again, Rezo has been very passive this game. He's spent so much time, especially inside of his ancient camp area, because he knows that, well, Betrayed probably have this same attitude that I was thinking about towards this, in that, all right, well, we just need to react to what OLD.G looked to do. So they tried that a few times. Thompson obviously died those first couple of instances. And then they said, you know what we could do? We could just sit back and farm. You know, we've got a Nature's Prophet that can look to scale into the later stages. And even Seb just going into that Soul Ring, right, allows him to sit back and farm a little bit. You can't let an Alchemist, even if it's just support, look to farm away on his own.
Shad?
Throw. No, Glyph has already been used, so he'll be able to get away.
And nicely done as well. As soon as they see a couple of heroes TP down bottom, Betrayed are able to get aggressive. Kill off Kidtrack, look for the D-Ward, and they're even going to try and catch up to no one, but
he knows.
Of course, like you said, he knows he's able to react, so in the end, up to 6,000 net worth lead now. No one has that Ages of the Immortal. You were also bringing up earlier maybe some of the items we could see out of Thompson in regards to the Veil. Well, Kidtrack's going to go down that route thanks to the all the gold that he got from the streak of Mirage.
Oh, yeah. It's worth it. I mean, Veil is such a big damage amplification item. Are they really in a position to try and take this mid-tier 1 tower is the thing that I'm questioning, because they don't exactly have the greatest tower takers, at least until SF hits level 15. And he's very close, though. So, you know, a little bit of a silver lining there. Maybe they just want to sit back, get into their next item, even if it's just this Shadow Blade on the SF, and then look to try and make some moves happen around those towers. But again, OLD.G, they understand the flow of this game. They're just saying, look, they're wanting to play a little bit more passively.
Man, that's so much damage. Oh my god. Are they high grounding?
I don't know if they're high grounding, but I think they're wanting to get TPs coming back for sure. There's no creeps left alive, so hopefully they're being able to respond to this. And, well, Mirage is actually just going to walk his way all the way back, rather than have to expend any TPs other than on the Disruptor. Spec has no TP. She does have the Ags, though, and the Full Haunt. Would love to get into that Mage Slayer before a true fight breaks out, though.
Look at the reactions. A little bit of damage into the tower. They'll look to try and reset here. So, I mean, what is the response going to be for Betrayed? Is there one person inside these team fights that they need to put priority on to kind of take out of the equation?
Oh, I would say Rezo, just because of the amount of damage that he's able to output, and, you know, even to some extent some control, but he's nearly got the BKB for himself, so it's not going to be easy for them to be able to take him out. At this stage, the big bulk of Shadow Fiend's damage is still magical. Of course, it'll change once he gets into that Silver Edge and the BKB for himself, but for now, it's going to have a lot more difficulty.
Nice read as well from OLD.G. They knew it was the kind of 2-minute interval, so they checked the power rune down bottom, didn't see it spawn there. They checked top and saw there was no rune there as well, so was able to kind of get the information that Radiant was smoked up, so they dodged that, and they're going to look for mid. Mirage is going to be a little bit cautious.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Okay.
The Reigns. You a fan of the song Africa by Toto?
Sure.
Oh,
Well, I don't know why you're doing this. I have
the
no
classics.
idea how you haven't
You've
learned by
heard
now.
of Africa.
I would have heard of it, but I don't know the name.
It's that one.
Shad?
His top tower is under attack.
Alright, he's
gonna
just,
get out.
yeah, gonna look to try and use his scepter to try and get on top of Resolution, who is gonna
good
be
move.
forced to pop an early BKB, but Shad's in trouble now. Rezo's gonna stand strong. Meanwhile, inside the middle of the fight, they've been able to deal with the first life. Mirage, can he get in range for the Requiem's gonna look to try and charge it up with the tree line, but the follow-up damage is just not there. No one standing strong. He can look to turn waveforming over the tree line, looking to utilize the Primal Beast replicate as well. They don't have the damage to bring down the Spectre for the moment, so no one is going to be cautious, just waiting for the rest of the boys to connect, and now they can go back up the high ground. His own me, he'll be chased down. Angel will not have the same fate. He's happy with surviving, but they'll force out a buyback out of the Disruptor. Ooh. Well, they want to go back in. Can they? They've got no ultimates.
I'm not sure if they can. Maybe they're just trying to catch a straggler.
They got the
for
glimpse on Rezo, yeah. We saw that BKB
maybe.
use Pride, but I don't know, man. There's 5 dire heroes. You might be forced to run back away.
Hi back.
Angel's gone. Own me. Bye-bye, sir. No escape. Symmetrical wants to get involved as well, but he'll be a little bit too late to the parties. OLD.G are not done just yet. The classic
Tower is under attack.
all up in their face. Just no time to react. No space for them to be able to find their items, as their base is now in shambles.
Really, the only thing holding them back might have been, you know, just a lack of mana. But, you know, Thompson, he really wants to be able to cast that Reign of Destiny, able to provide a little bit of that extra survivability as they take this lane, but, well, they're not even going to need it. And, of course, the Glyph was popped previously as well, so just looking to go into this second lane of Rax. Trying to take it even quicker than the last game. Unfortunately, they're not going to be able to do so, but this game is really starting to close in around Betrayed.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Just
Radiant's bottom
imagining the tips for that Reign of Destiny. Seb's like, yeah, maybe it is good. Thompson's trying to convince him, no, guys, come on, pick the Oracle. It's good, I swear. Oh, I think they see Symmetrical. Yeah, Seb just got a glimpse of him now. Just gonna try and play around with the fog. Seb, find out. Oh, man, okay, really? There is a tier 1 tower, though, and the scan from OLD.G does connect, so they're well aware that some of the boys are coming, so Resolution's like, nah, maybe not this time, Seb. I'm not going to join you.
He just goes back to his little safe space inside the ancient camp. He's like, all right, back and forth, farm. Maybe use the trees to push out that bottom side of the map. And, well, they've got such a limited time to be able to do anything here on Betrayed. With the fact that Alchemist is dead, though, this is probably the best chance that they've had, but they need the Shadow Fiend there if they're going to be able to do anything.
Look at these both sides running alongside each other. They're going to see Radiant's Courier. They might get... they're going to at least know that some members aren't playing behind Shad at the moment. They'll do whatever he can to try and play around with the illusion, Duke and Shy, but that is not enough. Of all of OLD.G are connected as 4.
And they're just looking to try and put the final nail in the coffin with that gem being purchased up by Kitrak. They want to close out the map for them to be able to
Resolution
play around
Mirage might be a big Requiem, but just the last sec. Dodging on away, and now with the rest of the team, they're looking for the wraparound. Seb's already here. Angel's just going to get blown up, and now Mirage. Ooh, don't move, friend. Oh, they see. Oh, it's a long TP.
That's a clencher.
Okay.
You know you've experienced that in Dota.
Oh, so many times. Oh, shit. So close. The little squeal at the end as well sometimes. It's got to happen.
You do strike me as a bit of a squealer.
What the hell? I had no idea what that's supposed to mean.
It could be whatever you want it to be. All right, they're looking to try and push out this last remaining lane. They had barely touched this top side of the map previously. But, you know, other lanes pretty much well addressed with. Feels right now that Betrayed, they're up shit creek without a paddle.
Oh, nice entry. But that pretty much feels like the only way maybe a team fight can turn back around if Mirage is somehow able to find a huge Requiem. So last set of barracks is now exposed, and no one in Resolution, both together, are just beating onto the barracks. No one's even going to drop the tombstone as well just to cover. What a stun! Seb! How? Stun onto 2. The instant follow-up from no one. Now they're going to push Mirage back inside the fountain, but this is mega creeps against the world. What can you do on Betrayed? And they know there's no way for them to find an angle back into this game. Congrats are called. OLD.G will be the first team to qualify to Division 2 here in the closed qualifiers. Beautifully done for them. An incredibly convincing series as well.
And entertaining is the best way you could put it, right? Like, who else is running an Oracle mid? Who else is doing Reki mid? Who else? Honestly, even though it's not super unorthodox, we don't see a ton of Alchemist support, but they're still making it happen, and they're having a good amount of success doing so. Mirage was out of there as well as soon as he called that GG, and, well, you got to feel bad for an SF losing a game in 26 minutes when he goes 11-1-1.
Yeah, it's yeah, that's you kind of, hopefully you can recover from that, because again, Betrayed are playing later tonight. They do have a series break, but it's still, they need to try and wipe the slate clean and come in with a fresh mind, because this was a beatdown of a series.
They even did the little things right. You know, I mentioned that Angel, probably against the Morphling, needs to not max out the Tombstone because he's going to be the main target for a lot of those replicates. He did. He just got the 1 point into it, making sure that it was a little bit of a focus priority. But once OLD.G noticed that, you know, it took a couple of fights, but eventually they said, you know what? We don't care about this Tombstone. Let's just look to ignore it. Let's look to maybe replicate into someone else. We saw he still did go into the Undying at the very end, going for that GG push, but you know, it's little decisions like that that still give me hope that Betrayed are going to be able to potentially make something out of that last series. But, you know, there's now 1 spot left for 3 teams remaining, which is pretty exciting to see.
Yeah, it's going to be very exciting to see who's going to be able to take that final spot. But again, for OLD.G, congratulations. It's definitely seems fitting with the names that we see on this roster to at least be involved in the DPC. It definitely was heartbreaking to see them not qualify in the last tour. But finally, they are where they belong, and everyone wants to see, of course,